So a former FBI agent comes out and has a crazy story. Now, you would think, well, it's probably some secondhand news. It's probably some kind of off kick of true news. It was shared by Newsweek. Wait till you hear what this guy said. It's just mind-blowing. And again, what is the DOJ doing about it? We're going to discuss that. Also, we're going to talk about what Donald Trump just said and did. Now, he posted a ton of memes about how something big is coming. Something big is happening. I don't know what that is. I do know that there was a story leaked that he wants to talk about UFOs. Here's my problem with that. That extraterrestrial ET means nothing to me. Let's just drop that and let's start talking about something like making America great. So we're going to talk about what Trump just said and also this now push to open the files on UFOs. There's a few people that may want that. There may be a few million people. But when it comes down to it, 50 to 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. I would love to see Republicans quit talking about all this stuff they're going to do and actually start doing it. We're going to discuss that. And then someone was caught on camera. A Campbell's Soup executives states exactly what you're eating. It's garbage food. Can we fix our food system? And if we fix our food system, can we fix people being hooked on medicine? I think health would be so much better if we just fixed our food. We're going to discuss that story. And then lastly, do you want a perfect baby? You know, do you want a perfect baby? Now, let's just genetically modify your child. This is scary. I'm so overwhelmed with how we are projected and what way we're going in America, to a point now where if you don't like your child, get rid of them, or if you don't like your child and how it's getting made up of, we can go in there and mutate your child while it's in the womb. It's happening. Let's dive into these stories today. This video starts right now. Hey guys, welcome to our channel. Thank you so very much for being here today. If you are new, please go down here, press subscribe, ring the bell, give us a thumbs up, and it means the world to us. And again, we humbly thank you for coming back each and every day. We're doing 2 giveaways at the end of the month. One is dealing with the 300,000 milestone that we passed. We'll be doing a major giveaway for that. Also, we're going to be doing a giveaway like we always do every month if you're a subscriber. So please make sure you are subscribed to the channels. Now let's jump into the stories of the day. First, let's talk about this story that just came out from a former FBI agent. This was shared by really a Newsweek article, but also Joshua Hall. It says, breaking, a former FBI agent has come forward to reveal that Barack Obama is not truly an American citizen. He was groomed by the CIA as a political operative in missions to destroy America. Now, that sounds crazy and like propaganda. I mean, you've heard that for a long time on the, the tinfoil hat wearers. But there's to a point now where you start thinking, okay, what we're seeing in our nation, and can we just admit that there are players that really want the worst for America? I think of the Open Society, George Soros. I think of the NGOs. I think of the mass migration. We're going to talk about mass migration and how it's affected Ireland and England. And we just act like, well, it won't happen here. That same push is destroying our nation. Now, what is the reason for that? I don't know. I think it's purely demonic. I really do. But he said he was groomed to change the way America thought. He said, no wonder the UK just took in Obama. Now, if you notice, Obama's been going to UK a lot lately. Well, there's a story said that he has some assets there and he has a house there. I don't know. But he has been meeting a lot in Ukraine lately. Is this guy setting up for some kind of global move? I don't know. But it is weird that this story come out, that a former FBI agent come out and said this is who he was. He was not some, prodigal that was brought up. He was propagandized by the Democrat Party, by the establishment to be the leader and to change America. Now, why are we not having DOJ probes on this? Why is FBI not actually coming out and stating these things? Now, I absolutely loved Kash Patel and Dan Bongino before they got into these roles. Now, here's 2 things I want to think about. Is our government so sinister and evil that Kash Patel and Dan Bongino are blown away by that and they know they can't share some of this information because it will make people not trust our government? Or is it the fact that everybody's evil? Like, I get to a point where I don't even know. Like, for instance, did you know that this week Doge was closed down? It was shut down to save money. Okay, you heard me right. Department of Government Efficiencies, the one that Elon started, the one that Trump agreed to, the one that we saw a lot of losses and waste of money, was just closed down. And they said it was because they want to save money. Now, what this shows is you had people trying to save money in America, wanting people to save money and wanting our tax dollars to be spent rightfully. And then you have the swamp. And the swamp just won out. It destroyed Elon and his ventures. It destroyed Doge and what we were doing there with trying to save money. So is our government just that evil? There's times I really do think that. And when I think that, it makes me worry, like, wow, what are we doing? What are we doing? Because when I think about, like, for instance, this story about the FBI agent saying this about Barack Obama, when I think about the fact that we've covered up these files for so long, when I think about all this other stuff about how we've allowed for, trafficking to go on with the Biden administration, just in yesterday's video we talked about, are we just that evil? And if so, as a Christian, the way I look at it is I'm thinking, if God has given his grace and mercy for so long, because if our nation and our leaders are that evil, is it that he just has his hand still upon us because the people don't know it yet? And if we do become to know it, are we going to try to do anything about it? I mean, I'm worried that we're just absolutely sinister and evil because we're allowing for these things to happen. And then there's not enough quote-unquote good people to solve it. I'm worried that the deep state or the swamp or the DC establishment is just so big that no matter how much someone wants to go up there and clean it out, they cannot. Even from the president to a senator or congressman to a judge. I laughed because the House of Republicans shared this thing the other day saying, well, I'm just so glad that we're working for the American people. And a guy said, you've not impeached any judges. You've actually not passed any bills to cut funding or to cut taxes or to cut regulation. You've actually not done anything other than propagandize and try to sell this one beautiful bill or this big beautiful bill. And actually, when you have to sell something and you have to encourage people to believe in it, then it may be the fact that you're just trying to sell us or smooze us instead of actually it doing something for the American people. How easy would it be just to cut funding to these things? How easy would it be to drop and be transparent? How easy would it be just to quit having secrets? And this is just one of many. I mean, this former FBI agent, he's just a guy. But why don't Pam Bondi come out and say, okay, here's the truth. Bam, 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 bam. Here's the truth. Cash Patel. Bam, 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 bam. Here's the truth. Trump. Bam, 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 bam. Now, I mean, that goes to this next story. It says Donald Trump is wanting to release the UFO files. He is wanting to confirm the existence of aliens. Now, what this does is this takes the eye off the ball. That's what this is. This is a full distraction. Does this really have any bearing on us? That we need to know there's aliens or not? I'm honest. Look, I know you've watched movies like E.T. and Independence Day and Aliens vs. Predators, but the bottom line is there's no aliens. And the UFOs are probably just other technologies from other countries that we're trying to emulate. We're taking our eyes off the prize to worry about UFOs. I don't want Trump worrying about UFOs. I want Trump worrying about how to save money. I want Trump to worry about quit trying to give us stimulus. Let's just pay down the debt. Let's actually get something passed in Congress and Senate. Do y'all realize if nothing happens under this Trump administration, nothing will ever happen, and we will go down in history as a sham, and America, as we know, will completely change to a socialist communist nation. Because everyone now that's starting to vote, the younger among us, is coming out of school wanting to be more socialism and communism in our governments. They don't want more constitutional republics. They don't want more freedoms. They want the government to tell them everything and do everything for them. I think that's why AI is making such a big push, because they know AI can take over every aspect of this. For instance, instead of learning about UFOs, Kristi Noem in the Department of Homeland Security just came out with the fact of the push for Real ID and digital IDs. More biometrics if you're wanting to fly. And you'll be taxed extra money and fined extra money if you choose not to go in through those biometrics. So in the name of trying to keep you safe, what they're actually doing is just taking more of your information and DNA. Is this really what we want? Edward Snowden just dropped this. I thought this was good. He said, our biggest fear was the one thing that we're seeing the most of now, where the real threat is truly China knowing every aspect of your life. He said, and sadly, America will do the same. The more we put our life on digital biometrics and IDs, the more you will have less freedom. There is no such thing as freedom when you allow for technology to take over your life. Now let's go to this next story. It says, mass migration, why we think it's a problem. This is now truth in Ireland. It says there are more Muslims in Ireland than Irish people now. Traditional Irish people. There's more Muslims in Ireland than Irish descent people. It says that this is shocking. It says Ireland is now completely covered with Islamic centers, and before long, Ireland will be called a Muslim hub. Rich history in Catholicism and Christianity and Irish individuals. Such a cool group of individuals in civilization, and now it's being overrun. It says what we don't realize is mass migration is ultimately destroying everything. I want you to listen to this. It says Qatar is pumping tens of billions of dollars in universities to help Muslim Brotherhood destroy democracy and to build up this new longing that Jews are bad, Christians are not good, and that Muslims are the way. And that socialism and communism will help bring in things like Sharia law. Now, those things are actually happening. And what's so funny is we want to blame Israel for doing bad things. And Qatar is literally owning more land in Great Britain than ever before. Ireland has now been completely taken over. And now America is dealing with billions of dollars pumping into the universities to propagandize Americans, to tell you democracy is bad, Jews are bad, Christians are bad, and that the new way forward is socialism, communism, and Islamic Sharia law. And they try to say, well, look at Abu Dhabi, look at Qatar, look at the United Arab Emirates. This is where people want to live. This is where everybody is moving because it's the cleanest, nicest, most proper town. And it's because we lead in Sharia law. We lead in socialism or theocracy. I don't see a good future right now for America. I'm really struggling. Now, Trump come out and actually shared this meme, this last 4 memes, like Q memes. They're like something big is coming. I've got something happening right now. It's in the work. No one will know what they see. You can't believe what I have coming. And that's all good. But now let's put some action behind it. Now I'm a Trump supporter. I'm a conservative. I'm a Christian. I want to see action. I really do. I want to see action. I want to see people arrested. I want to see DOJ probes. I want to see Congress impeach these judges. I want to see Trump actually go after these people. All the things that we dropped and talked about the last few days, of all these things that went against the administration, I want to see DOJ arrest them all, indict them all. But instead, they just grandstand. I don't believe this is benefiting anyone. And I'm scared to know of what my kids are growing up in. It almost gets me emotional because my kids are going to have to grow up in this. They're going to have to grow up in this. And it's going to even get worse, and especially when our generation is saying, I told you so. I told you this would take place. And no one is listening. All right, I want to go to this next story, and this is our last story from Mario Nafal. It says, have you had your best baby yet? That's the title of this little snippet. It says, New York subway ads are starting with Gattaca Real for $10,000, $9,995. Nucleus Genomics is plastering New York subways with the most honest ad campaign in history. I want you to look at some of these pictures. I'm going to share them on the screen. It says, pay us $10,000, we'll screen 900 genetic conditions plus IQ, appearance, and mental health risks. Now listen to this now. Genetic anomalies, things like that, I think that's crazy that you're playing with a baby's genome or genetics or DNA. But what's scary is this. Not only can we test the genetics, we can look at the IQ, we can look at the appearance of the baby, what color eyes they're going to have, what color, how their genes are built up. Can we change that? Can we change their pigments? Can we change their appearance? Can we change their hair color? It says, we want you to pick your best embryo. This isn't coming tech, it's here now. It says Sam Altman's already funding the next tier where the rich can buy biological advantages to genetically modify their children, optimizing their babies. This is a dangerous, dangerous thing. I just don't understand why we as humans think we know more than God. and why we can't just be very happy to live under His guidance. I mean, I don't get why we think we know more than our Heavenly Father. I'm telling you, man, if we don't start doing something and we don't start trying to fix our problems and start leaning on Christ, we will not have a nation, because we have got so many bad things happening, so many, closed door, cover-ups, all this stuff. I mean, it's even to a point where our food system is broke. I mean, Campbell's, I want to share this, and this has nothing to do with just the baby situation or anything, but it just shows how broken we are. Campbell's came out this week and stated that their food, I mean, it was actually called on camera, it wasn't supposed to be, but it says Campbell Soup VP and Chief Information Security Officer Martin Bally was secretly accorded saying the company uses bioengineered meat. Their products are unhealthy, and they're meant to really just have for poor people. So basically give poor people poor food, so they're poor health, and therefore they're always on a system. We have blank for poor people. We have crap for poor people. Who buys this stuff? Only the poorest. And it's bioengineered meat. It's worthless. And to be honest with you, it's all going to come from a 3D printer. He was caught on camera saying that. This goes back to the very first point of what I was just saying. Even our companies are so evil to where they're going to absolutely make people sick on the purpose of knowing just give them cheap crap. That is his exact words with a lot of other explicatives. We are broken and it's evil. And we must return to Christ. If we don't, I'm scared for our kids. I am. And then all of a sudden we want to GMO modify our children with DNAs and change their appearance and IQs, looking for quote unquote a perfect human. This will blow up in our face. This is evil, and I'm sorry. Until we quit worrying about UFOs and closing down the things like the Doge, we're going to be a fallen nation. And it's just, I wonder how long, and again, this is getting spiritual. I wonder how long God will hold His hand on our nation in His mercy, in His grace. And I pray it's every day for my children. But at some point, our evil is going to catch up, and God's going to remove His presence, like He did with Israel, like He did with a lot of other countries. And I'm scared our empire will fall. Not to be a Debbie Downer today on Monday, first of the week. It's Thanksgiving week. Let's don't take our families for granted. Let's don't take the love of God for granted. Let's don't take our health for granted. Let's understand that the people in Washington are not there to save us. They're there to imprison us. And when we really admit that, I think we'll start doing better. Guys, let me know your thoughts for today's video. God bless.